everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. I'm your host, as always, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down PFL Week 3, 2023. I'm actually not live right now. I think this is the first time I've done a video that's not live in like a really, really long time. Kind of just wanted to do it at my own pace. Didn't want to have to like put down a firm time of when I do it because it's been a busy schedule. But sorry, just needed the AC. But yeah, so we're not live, but anybody watching later on, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I'm your host, Mike. And yeah, let's hop right into this PFL card. It's actually pretty good. The few fights that are mad, but I've got a lot of money lines down. If you guys been following me at all, you know, recently for regionals, my slates are pretty small. Like usually 3 to 5 spots. Anything over that is rare unless it's like Bellator, but I liked a lot of money lines, and we're going to talk about them in a sec, so we can hop right into the card. So for the first fight, we've got Magomed Umalatov versus Dinalo Taylor. Magomed, he's 12-0, undefeated as a pro. Don't have his age. He's 6'1" with a 75-inch reach. For his camp, let me double check. I've got American Top Team. Dinalo Taylor, he's 10-3-0. He's 26. He's going to be 2 inches taller at 6'3" and have a 2-inch reach advantage. So for this fight, honestly, I get the people who like Dinalo Taylor as an underdog, but personally, I don't think it's worth the play. He's at a great camp. He's at Sanford MMA. He can grapple. He's got good wrestling. His takedown defense is solid, but we have seen him taken down. He got taken down by Zeffirino, got controlled a little bit. But overall, he's got good grappling, and he's got good defensive grappling. His striking, I just have him down as solid. Doesn't necessarily do anything crazy, but he's got a solid striking. His output is a little questionable. I don't know how I feel about his output, but when he picks it up, when he's letting it loose, he looks good. And in terms of output, I think he's going to have the better output here. Like on the Umalatov side, obviously he's solid. He's very technical in the striking, very slick, does everything really well, but he doesn't throw much. He really doesn't. And I don't like that. And that's why I couldn't even parlay him or do anything like that because I can't trust him. Like, yeah, he's a really good finisher, 10 knockout wins, all that, but he hasn't really fought anyone that great. In PFL, he went to his first decision ever against Leandro Silva, who is like, he's a regional journeyman of journeymen. And like, it was a close fight that it shouldn't have been just because he doesn't do much. And then he beat Jara Al-Silawi, which is probably his best win, and he knocked him out. Who knows what would have happened if it kept going. He can wrestle. He just doesn't really do it often. If he wrestles here, I bet he could probably take down Dinalo. I think that he can knock out Dinalo. And I think it's possible he can still win a decision by landing more damage. But if we go to a decision, I think Dinalo might be live because I just think he's going to do more. That's going to be a theme that I talk about a few times over this card. And I think that this is one where it's relevant. So my pick is going to be Umalatov. I'm not going to bet him in any way. I think Dinalo Taylor is a live dog. If you like him, if you see the angle, I encourage you to take your shot. Just me personally, I'm not willing to. And now I'm seeing the price actually went down to plus 240. You can still get plus 280 on him. It was way better when he was plus 600, huh? Or he was at plus 300 for up until today. Yeah, now I'm really not that interested at this price, to be completely honest. Plus 240. You've already got Umalatov at minus 280. Now maybe you can talk about parlaying him because I do think he's a better man. So doing nothing with it yet. Follow me on Twitter at Couch Warrior Pod. As always, that's where I post my bets as soon as I make them. They're also on my Bet MMA page that's linked both on my YouTube channel and on my Twitter. And also, please, if you're watching this, subscribe. We've been slow on the subscriber growth. Growing fast on Twitter, but I want to grow on YouTube too. So let's get at it. If you can subscribe, like, comment, that would be super dope. And we won't waste any more time. We'll move on to our next fight. All right. Here we've got Carlos Leal versus David Zawada. Leal 17-4-0. He's 28 years old. 5'11" with a 72-inch reach. I've got Thai Brazil for him. Zawada, 18-7-0. He's 32 years old. He's going to be 1 inch taller, have a 3-inch reach advantage. He's training out of UFD gym. So Zawada, UFC vet, got cut, I think, just a year or so ago. I don't know if it was a cut or a contract dispute. Probably a cut because he was losing for the most part. Like, let's look. He lost to Alex Morono. He lost to Ramazan Ameev by split. He beat Abu Bakr. We all remember that one. He's pretty good. I mean, Zawada's pretty good. He's nothing special, but his boxing's pretty good. He's good on the feet. He's got good power. He can grapple. He could wrestle. Another decent underdog spot that I understand, although here I actually bet the favorite. I think that Leal is just a bit more well-rounded. I think that he's got good takedown defense, and I think that can Zawada take him down? Maybe, but it's going to be hard because he's smaller. He's got this thick frame, and it can be difficult to get underneath and get those takedowns. On the feet, could be close. You know, Leal, sometimes he's got good output, sometimes not so much. Same goes for Zawada. Whoever's throwing more is probably going to win the fight. I think there is going to be grappling. I think both guys could do it. And I think it should be a relatively close fight, but for some reason at minus 180, I felt that Leal was a good bet. I put 2 units on him. I just think he wins, is what it really comes down to for me. I think he can get greasy in certain spots, but if I had to rate them piece by piece, I kind of rate him higher in pretty much every aspect. I'm like hesitant on the striking, I think, but I'm with Leal. I think he should win the fight. I think it's probably going to be a decision. What's the prop on that? I don't even think I paid attention to it. Over 2.5 is minus 185. I think that happens. I don't really see either guy finishing the other. Zawada does have 12 knockout wins, but Leal, he's never been knocked out. 6 knockout wins for Leal, but not against the best competition. Zawada's been knocked out twice, but by better guys. And then sub game is relatively even. Zawada's got 4 subs. He's got that big one over Nurmagomedov, Abu Bakr. But other than that, I wouldn't say either of these guys is a huge grappling threat to the other. And I do think we'll be on the feet. And I think that Leal will be able to win this fight. And we're going to move on. So this fight literally just got made before the show. And I had to readjust. I had to redo it. Not that it really took much because I already have done a ton of tape for Goltsov for the last event, for this event for his Brady fight. I think Brady understood that his managers made a grave mistake and that he should not fight Denis Goltsov. So he pulled out. I don't know what the real reason was, if it was like a medical thing. It just says Brady withdrew. If he's smart, he did it on purpose. But now Cezar Ferreira, you know, he fought in the 2021 season. He didn't fight in the 22 season. And he looked 38. He's 38 now, so he was 36, 37, but he looked old and it didn't look good, right? So his last UFC loss to Marvin Vettori, before that Ian Heinisch, both tough guys, and you know, he didn't get finished, so put up a decent fight. Now he comes into the PFL. Nick Roerick honestly didn't look great from the start and then knocked him out. That was good. Chris Camozzi, if you know the guy, he's an ex-UFC vet, not really a high level man. And I mean, I think Ferreira was like minus 350, 450 in that fight. And he won the first round, outstruck him, outgrappled him, and then just the wheels fell off. And Camozzi then outstruck him and outgrappled him. So I think that because of that, I was tempted on a Ferreira shot originally, but after seeing that, I can't do it. I really can't. Denis Goltsov, you know, he's great, but for some reason he performs under what is expected of him based off of just like his, like, you look at his tape, you watch him, like he's good, and then he pulls up and he does things that are just like meh, and he's not getting finishes when he should, or he's getting hurt before he's getting the finishes. He hasn't been as good as I expected him to be, but he can grapple really well. He's huge. He's going to have the size edge here. Not going to have a reach edge, which is unusual for him, but he will have the size. I think he's going to be able to grapple Ferreira down. Now, Goltsov is hittable. Ferreira knocking his head off at some point wouldn't be shocking. But overall, I think Denis Goltsov drowns him, gets that decision. The line actually did just open up. Minus 650 Goltsov, plus 475 Ferreira. I mean, I'll tell you, I'm kind of tempted to throw a quarter unit on that Ferreira spot just because, like I said, Goltsov, should be amazing, but he's only great. And he leaves himself open for counters, especially when he's running in for takedowns, kind of ducks his head. If Ferreira gets his counters in, I mean, he can hurt him. I'm going to see what the props are. I'm going to see what happens with the money line. I'm not going to parlay Goltsov, even though I think he dominates. But if I can get some kind of good prop on a finish, or maybe just put a quarter unit on Ferreira at like plus 500, that might be something I'll consider. The pick, however, is going to be Goltsov. It's just that he's not bettable. You can't trust him at these wide numbers, and it's hard to pick a finish prop with him, right? He goes to decision most of the time. You never know how he's going to do against a guy like Cezar Ferreira, though, who's been out. Maybe he's out and Goltsov can finish him. That's why hitting the props, it's difficult. We'll move on to the next fight. Here we've got Clay Collard versus Yamato Nishikawa. Collard, he's 21, 10, and 0, 30 years old, 5'11" with a 73-inch reach for him. Let me double check the camp. Yeah, I don't have anything for either, so we're going with Tapology, the Pit Elevated Fight Team. Nishikawa, 21, 3, and 6. He's 20 years old, and he has 30 fights, guys. It's insane. And by the way, those draws, the 6 draws, it's because he fought in a promotion at some point where I think it's like 2 rounds, and if someone doesn't get a finish, it's a draw. Something along those lines. So that's why he has so many draws early in his career. How he has so many fights and how he's allegedly been fighting since 13, I don't know. But, even with all those fights, he's 20, 5'7". He's given up 4 inches in reach. He's still very green. He was supposed to make a UFC short notice debut against Magomed Mustafayev, of all people. And I honestly think he was going to die. Unfortunately, the guy, I can see the talent, and I think he'll get better. He's only 20 with 30 fights somehow, but I think he will get better. But he's super hittable, first of all, like extremely hittable. He can grapple really well, but sometimes he's too easy to take down because he's willing to go and play jits and play off his back. I like his grappling upside even in this fight. Clay Collard has shown great takedown defense even throughout his UFC career, throughout his PFL career, but he can be taken down. And, Nishikawa, he moves quick. He seems strong, compact. I know he's only 20. Maybe he doesn't have that man strength, but he seems strong as hell to me. I threw a little flyer on Nishikawa sub plus 450 for a quarter unit, and it's only because I do see that grappling upside. And while I think Clay Collard is leagues ahead in the striking, he fights recklessly, and his hands are down, and he gets cocky, and he does his whole style, and he's awesome for it. But that's how you get caught by someone like Nishikawa, who can hit hard. His technique isn't fantastic, but the guy can generate some power, and I do think that he can hurt Clay Collard. I don't know about knocking him out, but maybe a club and sub if he's not getting the sub off the takedown. It's my angle there. Overall, I do think Clay should win this fight. But Clay, first off, he constantly gets robbed, and it might be because he's not doing enough to show the judges he's really dominating the fight. I thought he did in the Martinez fight. I don't know what that was, but yeah, I think he should shave, as Uncle Weezy would say, I think he should shave Nishikawa's ass. But I took the shot on the sub just because he's such an unknown, this Nishikawa. He is explosive. He is powerful, and he does have grappling upside. So I took a shot, but I won't lie. Clay Collard at minus 235 to me seems like a relatively good parlay piece. So if you're into that, I do think that's the side. I just chose to not trust Clay fully and to take a shot on the underdog, landing some shots and getting a sub. So we'll move on to the next fight. This is one that a lot of people are looking forward to. We've got OAM versus Shane Burgos. OAM, he's 17, 5, and 0. He's 34 years old, 5'9" with a 70.5-inch reach. On the other side, Burgos, he's 15, 3, and 0. 2 years younger at 32. He's 2 inches taller, and he's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. Tiger Schulman's for him. Now, I get the love on Shane Burgos, and honestly, I messed up. I could have gotten Burgos at plus 195. I looked at it, and then I chose not to play it for some reason. Did the tape, chose to play Burgos. It was plus 135. I didn't want to stake too much. I put a half unit. I think the line's flipped now and that OAM is the favorite. And honestly, the underdog. And I kind of feel like that's incorrect, right? So OAM, career 155er, counter. Shane Burgos, huge 145er. I doubt he's going to have a problem. And he's already the bigger guy measurables-wise. So I don't think that's going to be a huge thing. OAM, good grappler. He can certainly grapple with Burgos. But Burgos, 93% takedown defense in the UFC. And the reason I think he's going to win is because he's just got more output. Now, who's a little more technical and who's a little more technical with their grappling? It's OAM. If he gets his perfect fight, yeah, he should win, and I think he should probably be the slight favorite. But I think that Burgos, because of his output, because of his pressure, and because he can also grapple, I think he's going to be doing more. I just think he's going to be doing more. And because of that, I think he is going to run away with a decision. I took a half unit shot on the plus 135. I don't know how I feel about betting him as a favorite. If you really feel like the output of Shane Burgos is going to really win this fight for him and you're not concerned at all of the grappling of OAM, then minus 125 on Burgos, I guess you can still justify it. I can't, just because I can't trust that OAM won't out-grapple him. So I went with just a half unit at plus 135. And we're going to move on to our next fight. All right. Not really going to have much to say about this one, to be honest with you guys. We've got Natan Schulte versus Stevie Ray. Schulte, he's 23, 5-1, 31 years old, 5'10" with a 69-inch reach, training out of American Top Team. Stevie Ray, 25, 11-0, 33 years old. He's 5'10" with a 70-inch reach, 1-inch reach advantage. Higher level martial arts for him. For me, this really comes down to, I just think that Schulte does everything Ray does better. You know, Ray is a decent striker. He's serviceable, certainly, but I think that Schulte is a much more crisp striker. I think he's going to have the edge there. I think defensively, striking-wise, I think that Schulte is going to have the edge there. I think he's going to be less hittable than Stevie Ray. And in terms of the grappling, you know, Ray has had two really good things he's shown in the grappling in the PFL. First of all, against Pettis, both fights completely out-wrestled him. In the OAM fight, he took down OAM and took his back in round 2. That was their finals match. So I was pretty impressed by that. I just don't think any of that's going to matter here. I think Schulte's just a way better wrestler. We did see Ray get out-grappled by Martinez, and I'm fairly confident that Schulte's a better wrestler than Martinez. I considered Schulte by sub just because he's such a heavy favorite, because he has 10 submission wins, whereas Stevie Ray has 4 sub losses. But the last sub loss he got was in 2013. And since then, and before then, it was even earlier. So you can't really take too much from that. I do think Schulte is still kind of alive for that sub, though. And it's sitting at plus, what was it? Let me pull it up. Plus 400 Schulte by submission. I'm going to wait and see because the line's coming up. I would like something a little bit better than that, just because Stevie Ray has shown good jiu-jitsu himself and defense himself since then, since those times he's been submitted. But yeah, the pick is Schulte. Not going to waste too much more time. We'll move on. I'm like on the way other side than the Tapology picks here. So we've got Zach Juusola versus Brendan Jenkins. Juusola, 13-9-0. He's 35 years old. 6'1" with the 72-inch reach for his camp. I've got Extreme Couture. Jenkins, 16-9-0. He's 4 years younger at 31. 6 feet tall, 72-inch reach, training out of Syndicate MMA. Jenkins had this little failed stunt in the UFC. Fought Zhu Rong first, got beat the fuck up, got taken down a ton. Then he fought Jocker close and, rightfully got beaten up. Now, his striking defense in those two fights was 33%. His takedown defense in those two fights was 27%. I think he got taken down like 8 and 3 times, 11, something like that. Look, his striking is good. He's explosive. What's his nickname? The human highlight reel, right? And it's because he looks for these flashy knockouts and he gets them. The flying knees, the spinning, whatever. I don't bet on guys like that. And I don't bet on guys who prefer to look for big, fancy counters. I like guys who have good output. And Jenkins doesn't really have great output. He's very dependent on finding that knockout. And because of that, and his lack of defensive grappling, I like Juusola. Look, I say that Juusola is not the best wrestler in the world. It's not something he's always going to. But he does do it. He has done it. And he does it pretty well. And I think it's well enough to out-grapple Jenkins. Find control time. Bring him to the fence, drag him down. His own takedown defense is pretty good. He gave up some takedowns to Whitner when he was like a plus 350 underdog, but he scrambled and he reversed it. So can Jenkins wrestle? I mean, we've seen it, but I don't think he's going to do it, and I don't know if it's going to work. And it might tire him out. And Jenkins, he's very flat-footed. Now, Juusola, his striking is serviceable, I'd say. I have it down as solid. I think it's serviceable. I like his output much better. My issue is he is hittable, and he does do the stupid hands down thing. So if Jenkins ever is going to get that highlight reel knockout, it might be here. So you got to be careful, especially with depending on the price. But I got Juusola at plus 132. I thought that was pretty good because of the grappling upside and the output edge from him, and the fact that I do think he can hang on the feet technique wise. I'm more concerned about his striking defense, but I do think he's going to wrestle. I sure hope he wrestles for my bet. But plus 132 for a unit is what I took. He's currently plus 110. Line is climbing. You can sit and wait. If you get plus 120 and you like my read, I think it's a decent spot. All right, moving up right along. Honestly, I like the spot I have here so much that I'm probably going to add to it. Here we've got Bruno Miranda versus Ahmed Amir. Miranda, he's 14-3-0, 32 years old. He's 5'9" and trains out of Phuket Muay Thai, I think. It says Tiger Muay Thai here. I don't know if they're like the same gym or gyms where people cross train, but go with Phuket Muay Thai because that's what it says on his Instagram. Phuket, I don't know how to pronounce it. Amir, 12-3-1. He's 32, same age, same height. And for him, let me check. I'm pretty sure I have his actual camp. No, I actually don't. So for Amir, I'm not sure where he's training. We're going to go with Saracen's team as Tapology has for us. And look, I like Amir a lot here. I really do. Bruno Miranda, he's just this plodding, heavy power striker who can be out-wrestled. He has been out-wrestled. We don't have a ton of his most recent fights. We have his Challenger Series fight. Then we have a few regional ones. Long story short, he can be taken down. Now, his striking is good. You can see that Muay Thai background. Really, really good leg kicks. But he wings his strikes. He's always looking for power strikes. And by round 2, if there's any grappling involved, he's already exhausted. He's one of these guys kind of like Dricus du Plessis where they look exhausted, but they can still land. But he slows down big time. And already his output's not elite. So can he crack Amir here? Yeah, he can. Amir can be a little bit hittable, and he can get a little wild looking for those takedowns. But Amir can strike too. He's serviceable there. He's going to have a size edge here. And I know the numbers say they're the same, but just based off of looking at them and measuring them against their opponents, like I'm fairly sure Amir is bigger here. And I think the wrestling is definitely going to come into play. We saw him out grapple Amin Ayub for 5 rounds. Ayub is a good fighter. He's a good guy. I actually bet against him in his last fight, and it cost me. And it's a good win for Amir. It's his best win. Neither guy's ever fought anyone that good, but that Ayub win is definitely better than anything Miranda's ever had. So for me, I think Amir is just going to out grapple Miranda, probably to a decision. I'm super, super tempted on the sub prop. It's currently sitting at plus 425. And you look at Miranda, he's kind of a fish out of water on the ground. He's been submitted twice. And Amir has a really good ground game. He's got the cardio to boot. He did a 5-round fight against Amin Ayub, grappled the entire time. So I'm kind of tempted to take a shot on that sub prop, and I might. But right now, I've just got a unit on him at plus 155. I believe he's still an underdog. Oh, man, not anymore. The line closed. Now he's minus 110. It's Pick'em. Look, at Pick'em, I still think Amir could have even opened the favorite, so I guess there's still a little bit of value to squeeze out there, but I really prefer the underdog price. But if you take away odds, you take away betting, and you ask me who wins the fight, I think it's Ahmed Amir. So that's the pick, that's the bet, and we're going to move on. For this next fight, we've got Shane Mitchell versus Nayib Lopez. Mitchell, 13-4-0. Don't have any of his measurables. ISO health for the camp. Nayib Lopez, 15-0, undefeated, 6 feet 3 inches tall, although I think that's a little bit wrong. He fought, blanking on his name. He fought this dude who previously, before that, fought on the Contender Series. Ivan Valenzuela. They fought for 4 rounds. And what was my point there? Wanted to make a point. Oh, yeah. So Valenzuela is like 6'2", and he was taller in that fight. So I think Nayib Lopez is more like 6'1", whereas Shane Mitchell, I think he's like 5'9", 5'10". Comparing him to his opponents that I do have height for, I think he's going to be giving up around 4 to 5 inches in height. And in terms of the matchup, man, it's a really good matchup for Lopez, I think. Lopez has fought the better overall competition just by, I'd say, a slight margin. Now, Mitchell, he is a BJJ brown belt in his most recent fight. We don't have a lot of his recent tape, but we have his most recent one. The takedown defense was actually all right. He had good hips, ended up on top and finished the guy, but the guy sucked. You go back to 2018, that's the second most recent fight we can find. You've got his fight against Rick Alson, where he gets completely dominated in the grappling and submitted in round 2. And his striking is just like, all right, it's all right. So to me, I feel like they're kind of throwing a bone to the undefeated Lopez and hoping to build on him in the PFL because he's a very good wrestler. That's his thing. That's what he goes for. That's what he's always looking at. And I do really believe that he's going to be able to out-grapple Mitchell. I think he's probably going to win by decision. I've considered taking something like that, like going to a decision. Lopez is not the best finisher on the planet. But for now, I just played his money line. His striking, Lopez isn't an amazing striker either, but I think it's good enough to hang with Mitchell. And I think the grappling is going to be the story of the fight. So I took Lopez at minus 205 for 2.05 units. Let's see what he is now. Minus 280. I'm sorry for putting this out late, guys. I mean, I put out all my picks as soon as I made them. So if you've got me on Twitter, if you're checking, you saw me when I posted those lines and you got the good lines. Unfortunately, I can't always do the pod as soon as I put the bets because I still have to write up notes and try to find other things to bring up to you guys. So I apologize, but now at this price again, maybe you can parlay him with Collard or Schulte. I guess you could do something like that. I don't know. I'm sticking with my money line, but I think we're getting a bit wide. That said, I still don't think there's an angle on the dog. So while I'm a little too uncomfortable to play Lopez at such a high price, I definitely don't want to play the underdog. So for me, it's Lopez or pass. Favorite or pass. And we're going to move on. For our next fight here, we've got Raush Manfio versus Alex Martinez. Manfio, he's 16-4-0, 31 years old. He's 5'9" with a 73-inch reach. American top team for him. Martinez, 10-3-0. He's 28. He's going to be 3 years younger. What is that? 3 inches taller. Same reach. Champion gym is what I've got for him. I took Martinez, but I did get him as an underdog. Again, if you follow me on Twitter, you saw it. Now he's minus 110. I got him at, I believe, plus 120. Let me tell you. Yeah, I got him at plus 120 for a unit. If the line flips again and he becomes like plus 100, I think he's a good spot. Look, Raush Manfio, first of all, it was awesome when he came in as an alternate for the season, made this run, became champion, was an underdog almost every fight. But the truth is he lost like 2 of those, at least. And he probably shouldn't have been in the finals. And we kind of saw why afterwards. He fought Don Madge, right? Don Madge coming out of the UFC. He asked for that fight. He was winning that fight. And he gets knocked out. And then you watch the OAM Manfio fight, which was boring as all hell. And Manfio loses for a similar reason that he was losing the Madge fight. A lack of output. There's so little output coming out of Manfio. He's just plodding, looking for those big hooky shots. The only straight thing he throws really is a jab. Everything else kind of has a hook to it. So to me, betting on Manfio, it's a risky endeavor because he's just not doing enough to win the fight for you. He can grapple, but he doesn't do it. Kind of just plods and looks for counters. And to me, I don't want to bet on that. Alex Martinez, he's a funky guy to break down. He lost to OAM. He probably should have lost to Clay Collard. Not probably. I really feel like he should have. But, then he's had all these close fights. He came in and no one really knew who he was the first season, and he's shown himself to be a good martial artist. He can strike pretty well. I do think that Manfio might land the more effective strikes, but Alex is going to land way more, and Alex is going to kick to a body, and Alex is going to move laterally. He's not going to just stand there and let Manfio just tag him. He's going to move, and he can wrestle too. It's actually going to be really interesting to see here because Manfio does have great takedown defense. He's very short and stocky, but he's been taken down. I believe it was Rajabov was one of them. Good wrestler. You got to, put an asterisk there. And the other one was Jonathan Luderback, who honestly I thought won that fight. And he did out-grapple Manfio. But, Manfio did a decent job defending. I think that Martinez, his main plan of attack probably shouldn't be wrestling, but I think it's something he can mix in. I do think just jiu-jitsu wise, he's better. And I like his striking better, just the output. So I went with Martinez as the underdog. At evens, it's hard to decide whether there's value on Martinez or not. Again, take all odds away, take everything away. You ask me who wins the fight. I think it's Alex Martinez. So I bet him as the underdog, and we're going to move on. I'm not going to waste much time here. We've got Magomedkerimov versus Ben Egli. Magomedkerimov, 36-0. He's 33 years old, 6'1" with a 73-inch reach, and he's out of American Top Team. Let me double check. Yeah, for Egli, 14-4-0. He's 35, 2 years older. He's going to be 1 inch shorter, 3-inch reach advantage. Gracie techniques for him. Look, Egli is actually not that bad. I don't think he's horrible. Striking defense looks pretty good. Striking's pretty good. Wrestling looks strong. Takedown defense isn't very good. He could be a bit submission over position and kind of just fall off and lose his place. He got dominated on the ground by Nick Brown in 2020. He's got 12 submission wins, never been subbed himself. So to me, I wrote in my notes, he's not a bum. That said, he doesn't have the weapons to win this fight. You know, if Magomed wants to grapple him, he's going to grapple him. If Magomed wants to strike with him, he's going to strike with him and win. So is there value at minus 1,100? No. Is there an angle to bet Egli? Not really. The only way would be taking a blind shot that, you know, Magomed pulls up and makes mistakes, but I don't think it's going to happen, guys. I think Magomed's going to win. I think it's dominant. Is he going to get a finish? Not sure. Let me see what the odds are on the props. KO is plus 150. Sub is plus 450. And him by inside the distance is minus 105. Decision is plus 130. Yeah, to be honest, I think it's going to be a decision, you know. But then again, this is the point I was going to make right after I said that. He does finish competition that he should finish. Curtis Millender subbed him. Sadibou, it's a tough fight for him. Makes sense. Ray Cooper knocked him out. Delano Taylor, he knocked out. And then Gleason Tibuao, you know, it's a tough guy to finish. So Magomed might find a finish here, especially if he's just dominating on the ground for 3 rounds, but not going to beat a dead horse. Magomed is the pick. There's nothing to do for betting for me here at all. And we're going to move on to the final fight we've got here. I thought this was the main event, and that's why it's on my thumbnail. But now, apparently, I have to change my thumbnail because the main event, I think, is OAM and Burgos. So got to change that. But I'll do that after I finish this video. So for this next and final fight, we've got Sadibou versus Jara Hussein Al-Silawi. The champion of last season at this weight class. 13-6-2. He's 36 years old. 6'3" with an 80-inch reach, training out of Extreme Couture. Al-Silawi, 18-4-0. He's 30 years old, 5'11", so he's giving up 4 inches in height, 8 inches in reach. But that's typical of a Sadibou fight, and that's why a lot of his opponents have a hard time with him. Beat Delano, beat Carlos, beat Rory, beat Nikolai Alexakin, a fight that a lot of people thought Alexakin should win. And it's because he's so hard to hit because he's so damn long and he uses that range. He doesn't really use his hands much, which is my problem with C and why I don't bet him personally. I just don't like the output with the hands. He almost doesn't do it. He'll measure a little bit, but that's really it. Everything else is done with kicks. Even in the Delano Taylor fight, I think it was like 2-3 rounds in, and it was like 30 leg strikes for C and like 4 punches. You know, he's not throwing a lot of punches, and I don't like that. Now, his takedown defense is really good, and it's improved and improved and improved. And with his frame, he's extremely difficult to take down. Silawi does have decent wrestling. I think he should be careful implementing it just because he can tire himself out. But if he has this game plan to come in here, strike with him closer up, not at range, and mix in wrestling, not necessarily to take him down, but to give him something to think about and to push him against the fence so he doesn't have that range, I think that maybe that's something he can do. I like the striking of Silawi as well. I like his output a lot more. I think he mixes up the strikes more. His takedown defense is really solid, but that's not going to matter. Sadibou is not going to wrestle here. And, you know, he's fought good guys on the regionals. He fought Abdurakhimov, the Lazy King, right? Lost to him and beat him. Then he has a win over Carlson Harris. He beat Ismail Nerdayev, a UFC vet, but that's not that impressive. overall, what I mean to say is that even though Sadibou has been the PFL fighting these high-level guys, Al-Silawi hasn't been necessarily fighting bums either. Yes, he just got knocked out by Umalatov, but that's kind of Umalatov's thing. And up until that point, that fight looked pretty even. And then before then, the Tibau decision I'm salty about because I actually had Tibau, and I thought he won, and he was like a plus 450 dog. But what can you do? The Michael Lilly knockout, whatever, Michael Lilly. And then before that, it's not PFL already. So I just felt that Sadibou at a favorite price tag, to me, is not wise to play just because of the low output. That's all it is for me. It's entirely possible that if Silawi isn't able to close the range, get into that pocket, he might just get outpointed just like the rest of the guys who've lost to C. But I got him at a pretty good price. There's actually a better price now. I got him at plus 170 for a unit. You can now get him at plus 190, and it seems like the line is climbing. Look, I get it. I understood it when the price was closer, but I just don't think it's smart to bet guys with low output. That's all. And I get he has high output with his kicks, but to me, I don't know that that's going to be enough to win this fight. So I have Al-Silawi for 1 unit at plus 171. And I played the over at minus 165. It's an over 2.5. And I put a unit on that as well. That's already minus 210. Mamma mia. So yeah, that got blown up. It's interesting to see what's going to happen leading up into tomorrow. But for now, I think that Silawi is, it's going to be a good price for you guys if you just wait. I think you'll be able to get plus 200, which is more than what I got, plus 170. So that's it, guys. That's a card. I'm going to run through my picks one last time, and then we're going to get out of here, and I'm going to put this up for you guys. So from the top, we got Jar Al-Silawi, plus 171, 1 unit. Alex Martinez, plus 120, 1 unit. Nayib Lopez, minus 205, 2.05 units. Shane Burgos, plus 135, half a unit. Carlos Leal Miranda, minus 182 units. Ahmed Amir, plus 155, 1 unit. Zach Juusola, plus 132, 1 unit. Nishikawa by submission, plus 450 for a quarter unit. And over 2.5 for the C Silawi fight, minus 165, 1 unit. That's all I've got for you guys. I know we have an LFA card. That's tomorrow, though, and I think it's highly unlikely that I'm going to get anything done for it. Maybe I'll put out some write-ups. Maybe I'll do some shorts. I'm getting into shorts recently. I'm going to try those out, but we'll see. I'll update you guys. For now, though, this is the PFL 3 2023 breakdown. Thank you guys all for watching, and please, good luck with all of your bets. Peace.